Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you see that the background is a little bit different, it's because I am back home right now. I'm back in Ho Chi Minh City. I'll be filming out of here for a while because I'm done with university and staying in Vietnam for a while. But today I wanted to talk about a little bit of a controversy that has been occurring with a member of a K-pop group called NewJeans, and that's a group under HYBE, which is the agency that manages BTS and TXT and so on. There's a Vietnamese member, an Australian Vietnamese member in the group called Hanni, or Phạm Ngọc Hưng, who has been trending on Vietnamese social media and Vietnamese media in general because of some information that has come out about her family, their alleged ties to South Vietnamese movements. This is a little bit of a controversial and inflammatory topic, especially in Vietnam, so I'm going to try to be as neutral as possible in explaining it. But obviously, as most of you may know, in the Vietnam War, or the American War if you're Vietnamese, there were two sides, the South Vietnamese side and the North Vietnamese side. The North Vietnamese had obviously won, the PAVN, and the current government in Vietnam right now is derived from that movement, that faction of the conflict. After the war ended, there has been a lot of efforts to reconciliate the two different sides so that we can all come together and be just Vietnamese in general. But obviously there is a lot of remaining hostility that people still have, especially people within the country, especially people overseas who still hold a hostile ideology towards the current government, and there have been actually some attempted terrorist attacks carried out by movements that are descendant from the South Vietnamese side of the conflict. So the allegation is that some members of her family have expressed sympathy and support for movements or ideologies that are closely linked to the old regime, the defeated regime. So the first thing that they did was that they went into Hanni's mom's Facebook account. If you see me looking down at my phone, it's what I'm looking at. I have to translate it directly from Vietnamese because the English translations are terrible because they don't really make sense. So I have to translate it directly. Basically, they went into Hanni's mom's Facebook page, some fans, and they found a link to her grandfather's Facebook page. He allegedly, and they know it's her mom's Facebook page because she had pre-debut pictures of Hanni that are not made public, who opened a martial arts academy in Australia, an international martial arts academy in Australia in 2012. Their entire family has really close ties to this academy. Hanni's younger sister allegedly took a picture, and it was posted on this academy's Facebook account in 2012 when it was opened for the opening ceremony, I believe. There have been some posts on this martial art academy's account that raised some eyebrows because it mentions LCC, who is a high-ranking general in the South Vietnamese army, and it expresses some political views that are in support of that sort of ideology. And also on the 29th of April 2013, there was a post that included the picture of a flag of the South Vietnamese army and the old regime. So another family member that was sort of looked into by this group of obsessive fans or stans was her aunt, who owns a Vietnamese restaurant in Australia, and on the Facebook page of the restaurant there were posts advertising a discount on Anzac Day, which, if you don't know what that is, it's the Australian military's day of remembrance for the people who fought in the Battle of Long Tung, which is a battle between the Australian forces, military forces, and the Vietnamese army. It was basically offering a discount to the people who fought on the Australian side. This entire controversy is amplified by the fact that Hanni doesn't speak Vietnamese very well, and she sort of always claims that she's Australian in interviews, and she never really says that she's Vietnamese. I find the point about her being bad at Vietnamese a little bit weird because I think it's really hard to maintain a proficient use of language when you're so far away from your home. And I know even personally that I was born in Ho Chi Minh City. I went to international school my whole life, and I speak Vietnamese fluently, but that was a conscious choice that my parents made. Some of my classmates who were Vietnamese, fully Vietnamese, their parents are Vietnamese, they don't speak Vietnamese very well because we studied in an English-speaking school. It was a British curriculum, so they sort of lost a lot of their usage of Vietnamese. Even living here, and obviously Hanni lived in Australia her entire life, so apart from that, I guess it just takes a society a long time to heal after any conflict. And I think that even though it ended in the Vietnamese conflict ended in 1975, there are still people living here today who were alive back then and who were able to remember how horrific it was and all of the carnage that went on. And it's still difficult to, sort of put that on the back burner and not consider it. Some people have the strong belief that they don't want any money or they don't want to support people who are tied to that ideology. It's just very unfortunate. She is now caught in the middle of this, and I think this is another strike against debuting minors in a K-pop group because they're still going through puberty, their brains are obviously still underdeveloped. Now they're having to deal with this additional stress of this political situation that they had no way of. Hanni couldn't choose which family that she was born in, and it really isn't her fault. It almost reminds me of the Chewie controversy, Chewie from Twice, because I remember a few years ago there was also a political controversy pertaining to her holding up a Taiwanese flag, and I feel like it's very unfortunate that all of these complex political issues are being shoehorned into entertainment, but I think that's just the nature of how it is, honestly. This isn't like a debatable issue for a lot of people in Vietnam. There's no amount of like logical arguing or criticism that is going to change people's minds who decide that they can't tolerate that sort of background or so on. I hope this gets resolved quickly. I don't know if this is going to turn into something bigger. Honestly, I think this might just be swept under the rug, if I'm being honest, because Vietnamese fans, although they are very enthusiastically supportive of K-pop groups and they do generate a lot of sales, they're not as critically important to a group's success as, I don't know, the American market or so on. So yeah, I don't know how much pressure this will exert, but there has been a lot of calls to boycotts and stuff. But anyways, so as far as I can tell, Hanni's mom has privated her Facebook account after all of this broke out, and I believe her other family members have also done the same. Anyways, that was a still long TLDR of everything that happened. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.